Alright, boys and girls, welcome back to the drive-through. Special shout out to the ensemble crew doing all the hard work back behind the scenes, getting none of the love. Alright, here we go. We got 5, 6. This is a really tough video, so I encourage you to do your best. Maybe you need to watch some parts over again. We're going to start by solving systems of inequalities. It's important that you know that since this is a line and an inequality, this is a line, a dotted line and an inequality, there are infinitely many points that satisfy these two equations. So the only way for us to answer this question on a piece of paper is by making a shaded graph. So, we are in standard form here. If you remember correctly, one of the best ways to graph things in standard form is to put a 0 in for x. That gives you 3y is less than or equal to 45. Divide each side by 3, and you get y is less than or equal to 15. So we know that the point 0, 15 is on this line, okay? So then similarly, you will put in a 0 for y, and you get negative 5x is less than 45. Divide each side by negative 5, and you get negative 9, 0. It is less than or equal to, so we are going to use a filled-in line. Okay? And let's see, we'll shade this one in light blue. Notice it's less than, so we're going to shade below the line, anywhere in this section. Okay? Now let's put a 0 in the bottom one. You get 0 plus 3y is greater than 24. Divide by 3 and you get 8. So you know that 0, 8 is a point. Put in a 0 for y and you get a 12. So 12, 0. Let's see. This is 15. Okay, and let's see, we're going to make this a dotted line. All right, and this is greater than, so we are going to shade above that line. Let's get back to my highlighter. We'll shade that in yellow above this line. So the answer to the system of equations are all of the points that satisfy both. And that would be any of the points in this region. All right. I'm going to answer question 3, and then we're going to back up to question 2 using Desmos. So, is the point negative 3, 10 is that a solution to this equation? And the answer is no. Okay? It is not in both shaded areas. Okay? Now let's look at number 2, and we're going to use Desmos to do that. So let me pull up Desmos. Okay, so we're going to graph this system of equation on Desmos. So I went to desmos.com and clicked graph. I got a toggle here for a little bit. Negative 10x plus 6y is less than or equal to 90. Click down here to get your less than or equal to 90. And notice we got a shaded graph. Okay? Let's add one. Toggle back over real quick. 6x plus 9y is greater than 36. 6x plus 9y is greater than 36. Okay? Let's drop that down. And here you have a very similar, that's much faster, I think, than the way I did it. grab this little snipping tool now, and I'm just going to snip the answer like this. It's got plenty of values. I'll come back to my answer, and I'll just go to the next page. And there you see all of those answers in the purple. Well, hold on a sec. Let's get a new page. All of the answers in the purple there will work. Notice the points along this dotted blue line will not work, but anything above those will. Okay, so that's Desmos, very helpful. Your graphing calculator can also do this for you. Okay, so now this is a really tough problem here. So first let's, it says to write a system of inequalities. So let's call that line A, line B, and line C. Okay? For line A, what is the y-intercept? It's 10. What is the slope? Let's see, rise over run. It looks like we've gone up 9 and over 6. So the slope is 9/6, which is 3/2. So you got equation A is y. Now, we're going below that line. So it's less than or equal to, because it's below line A, mx plus b. So 3/2 x plus 10. Okay? Now let's take a look at line B. The y-intercept, it looks like, is 2. The slope, let's see, I got to find another point on the axes. This is the easiest way to do slope. Looks like we've gone up 2. We've gone over 12. So the slope is 2/12. It is positive, which is the same thing as 1/6. We want to be above this line, and the line is filled in. So it's greater than or equal to mx plus b, 1/6 x plus 2. Okay? So that is equation B. Now let's go into C. What is the y-intercept in C? Well, it's also 10. What is the slope? Before you do anything, recognize that the slope is certainly negative. It looks like we've gone down 10 and right 4. So the slope is negative 4/10, which is negative 2/5. So the final equation in this system of inequalities is y is, now look, that's below line C, so less than or equal to negative 2/5 x plus 10. So here, that is our system of inequalities that creates that shape. Now, Amanda says that Frank switched the signs, and if you switch the signs, instead of being above A, it'd be below A. Instead of being below B, it'd be above B, etc. And they're saying this is what it would look like, but this is not true, because these regions do not overlap. And in order for an inequality to work, it's got to be a member of all of the desired regions. So Amanda is not accurate with that statement. Okay? All right, here we go. This is tough. So, again, I encourage you to pause the video and watch this. Carlos and Clarita, and read this. Okay? Here's what we got going on. We got 2 different types of cat food. We got Figaro flakes. And all you need to know about Figaro flakes is they've got 12 grams of protein and 4 grams of fat. Okay? And then for Tabitha, you've got 4 grams of protein and 6 grams of fat. And what you're doing is you're cutting this cat food, okay, like a gangsta. You're going to take some of this cheap cat food and you're going to cut it up with some of this high-end cat food, and then you're going to make the cat food that you want. So we've got to figure out what is that word called? Thank you, guys. Thank you, Taylor and Carson. We're going to figure out what our constraints are. So we've got a protein constraint, and you've got a fat constraint. Now the protein has to be, let's see, greater than or equal to 8. And the fat must be less than or equal to 6. So here's where I think you would need my help for this, and I needed Miss Wood's help to get this figured out. So let's see. Let's let F be a scoop of Figaro and T be a scoop of Tabitha. So if you do, it's 8 grams of protein for every scoop. No. I did that completely wrong. Remix. It is 12 grams of protein for every scoop of Figaro, and it is 4 grams of protein for every scoop of Tabitha, and that's got to be greater than or equal to 8. Okay? Whereas there are, let's see, 4 grams of fat for every scoop of Figaro, and there are 6 grams. Let me clarify this from an earlier mistake. There are 6 grams of fat for every scoop of Tabitha, and that needs to be less than or equal to 6. So here are our constraint equations, and now we need to graph them. So I went to Desmos and got us a little graph. Okay, again, this is standard Ford. So if you put in a 0, you get 4t equals 8. Divide each side by 4, and you get 2. So 0, 2 is a point on this, and then let's put something, 0. So 12f is greater than or equal to 8. Divide each side by 12, and you get f is 8/12, which is the same thing as 2/3. So 2/3, 0, 0.6 repeating. The line is going to be filled in, so I go to my line tool. I can't have a negative, whoops, it's going to be filled in, so I go back down to here and fill it in. We can't have a negative amount of scoops, so I'm just going to kind of keep this right there in that triangular region, okay? All right, now, let's put in a 0. Let's put in a 0. Oh, that's just confusing. 0 for F. You get 6t divided side by 6, 0, 1. Okay. Put in a 0 for Y, and you get 4F, 6 divided side by 4, and you get 6/4. Okay, once again, this is filled in. Oops, so here, I got to go back in. So we've got this, and I erased that line from before, so let me reconnect it. We got this. Now let's look at some shading, okay? We are above the protein line. We are above. This is a minimum amount of protein. So we got to be above the black line. Okay? And it's a maximum amount of fat. So we are below the fat line. And our possible recipes for this cut up cat food exist where those two things overlap. And that's going to be this triangular region right there. Okay, so all of our possible cat food combinations are within that purple triangle. I think that's it. Can I get a boom, Caroline?
Boom.
Boom!